Yo, it's your boy, Smoke back there, Madden video. Today's video, we're going to be rebuilding the Las Vegas Raiders after they have selected Ashton Jeanty in the 2025 NFL Draft. Now, we do post rebuilds and stuff like that on the channel. If you guys are interested in a Travis Hunter on the Jacksonville Jaguars rebuild, link will be down below in the description. Ashton Jeanty started off at 81 overall. We downloaded a random draft class or an updated roster that had Ashton Jeanty on the Raiders. And some of the first moves we're going to be doing is signing Shaquille Barrett because the Raiders do need right outside linebacker help for sure. And I just want to go ahead and let you guys know that we will not be playing any games, obviously, and we are going to have auto-generated draft classes after this year because it's hard to predict 2 years down the future who is going to be available and things like that. And left outside linebacker Preston Smith, we're going to pick him up in free agency as well. I normally don't do all these moves right off the bat, but the Las Vegas Raiders are in a spot where they need a lot of help. We're also going to be signing John Johnson, free safety, and he's a 77 overall. And then we're going to be signing one more person before we even start the simulation. Kendall Fuller, he's still a free agent, an 87 overall quarterback, and definitely something the Raiders need, as they need a lot of secondary help and help on the defense. So as the first year, the Las Vegas Raiders record with having Ashton Jeanty is 8-9. It's not horrible, to be honest, and they're 84 overalls across the board. 84 offense, 84 defense, and 84 overall. So let's go ahead and check out the statistics and see how everybody did with Geno Smith, the newly acquired quarterback. 3,214 passing yards, 15 passing touchdowns with 13 interceptions, along with a 63 completion percentage and only a passer rating of an 83.8, and he was sacked 40 times during the year. So not a good season whatsoever from Geno Smith, and it looks like some bad offensive line play as well. Let's go and see how Ashton Jeanty did. So Ashton Jeanty had 1,081 rushing yards, 12 rushing touchdowns, and 0 fumbles. An amazing year for Ashton Jeanty. Zamir White, the running back, with 276 rushing yards and 8 rushing touchdowns. We ran the ball really well, as we had 23 rushing touchdowns on the year because Geno Smith had 3 rushing touchdowns as well, with 262 yards. Jacoby Myers is going to be our leading receiver with 82 receptions, 1,110 yards, and 6 receiving touchdowns. Brock Bowers, he had 60 receptions with 708 receiving yards and 4 receiving touchdowns. So, Brock Bowers, it was a good year, but a little bit not as impressive as his first year, his rookie year. Trey Tucker with 608 receiving yards off of 49 receptions and 1 receiving touchdown. It looks like we got Jack Bench right there, the TCU receiver. They drafted the 2nd or 3rd round. I don't know why his name is hashtagged out. They do that sometimes when you download classes, but he had 409 receiving yards. John Johnson was our leading tackler with 95 tackles. Then you got Eric Stokes with 83. Then you got Rasul Douglas with 78 tackles. And the tackles for losses are going to be Christian Wilkins leading the way with 12. Looks like Max Crosby had 10. Preston Smith had 8. Let's go and check the sacks now. Max Crosby had 10.5. It's not a bad number at all, but Max Crosby, when you're a superstar like him, probably should get a little bit more than that. Christian Wilkins had 7.5 sacks. Eric Stokes led the team with interceptions with 4. Jeremy Chin tied him as well with 4. And Kendall Fuller had 3 interceptions. These is everybody we're going to be losing this year in free agency. We're going to be losing Kendall Fuller. He is just not interested in re-signing whatsoever. We're also going to be losing Rasul Douglas, but you can see in the top right a little bit that we have $91 million in cap, so hopefully we get some big names within the next 2 years. We're going to be losing John Johnson as well, Malcolm Kuntz, and Sincere McCormick. So these are the people we're going to be signing in free agency. We're going to get Raheed Shaheed, 81 overall wide receiver. We're going to get Mike Hilton, a quarterback who is a 79 overall. He's 31 years old. Tutu Atwell, 77 overall, 25-year-old. And Quinn Ewers. So they must have cut Quinn Ewers, but we went ahead and picked him up. So he's a 70 overall, and he's only 22 years old. We'll use him if we don't make a big trade for a quarterback soon, because Geno Smith is definitely not the answer. This is everybody that we drafted. So these are the auto-generated people. And this is Dudley Fenderson, and he looks pretty solid. A 77 overall right tackle with the 13th overall pick. So not a bad pick at all. It definitely looks like it will be all right. Then we took Oscar White, In the second round, he was a quarterback who was 76 overall. Then we got Lindsley, 68 overall, right outside linebacker. Then we took a quarterback just in case, because we are going to need a quarterback at some point. And we are going to trade away Geno Smith right now. So 78 overall, Geno Smith is going to get traded for Quincy Williams, a left outside linebacker, who's an 83 overall, and we're getting a 6th and a 7th round pick. We are making that trade for a quarterback right now. Now, I've done an Indianapolis Colts rebuild, and Anthony Richardson was pretty solid, and I'm going to try to take the chance on him again. He's still only 23 years old. We're giving up a first-round pick next year, or 2 years down the road, and a second-round pick, and another second-round pick, and a fourth-round pick for Anthony Richardson, and hopefully that pays off. We're going to be doing another trade here, this time with the New York Giants. We're giving up DJ Glaze, a right tackle that we drafted 2 years ago now. He's still only a 75 overall, a first-round pick, and a third-round pick. We're going to get Paulson Adebo, an 84 overall quarterback, who I think is actually a very underrated quarterback in real life. Bobby Okereke, middle linebacker, and Wandell Robinson. We also give a first-round pick, but if we're being honest, the picks don't really matter that deep because the auto-generated players aren't really that great. Now, in the second year of the rebuild, the Las Vegas Raiders make playoffs already with an 11-6 record, and they're going to be facing the Kansas City Chiefs in the first round. But before we go ahead and send the playoffs, let's go and see how the end-of-the-year statistics panned out for us. Anthony Richardson with 3,544 passing yards, 27 passing touchdowns, and 12 interceptions. Definitely one of the better years in Anthony Richardson's career. He was sacked 28 times, so you can see the offensive line is already tremendously better. And he had a 70% completion percentage and a passer rating of 103.8. Definitely miles better than Geno Smith. Ashton Jeanty, he had 236 attempts for 1,127 yards, only 5 rushing touchdowns somehow, but still not that bad of a year. Zamir White, he had 539 rushing yards with 11 rushing touchdowns. Now in the receiving game, Brock Bowers is going to be our leading receiver. Not too surprising there, with 976 yards and 71 receptions with 11 receiving touchdowns. Jacoby Myers with 938 yards and 5 receiving touchdowns. Wandell Robinson was able to get 567 receiving yards. Bobby Okereke is going to lead us in tackles, and I love Bobby Okereke. I think he's really underrated. Also, Quincy Williams, he had 83 tackles, that Mike Hilton had 75. Tyree Wilson, of all people, is going to lead us in tackles for loss with 16, and then Max Crosby with 11. Sacks is going to be Max Crosby with 10.5. Again, or 18.5, my bad. 18.5, an amazing year for Max Crosby with 18.5 sacks. Tyree Wilson's going to have 11.5. And then Quincy Williams is going to have 2 interceptions. Bobby Okereke is going to have 1. And we were first-round exits. Not surprising. I'm happy we just made the playoffs, to be honest, with our second year in the rebuild, because the Las Vegas Raiders have a lot of work to do in real life. So the fact that we were even able to make a playoff appearance in the first 2 years, pretty impressive. But the final score was 28-24. Kansas City Chiefs win, obviously. Patrick Mahomes with 322 passing yards, 4 passing touchdowns, and 1 interception. Anthony Richardson with 145 passing yards with no passing touchdowns, but also no interceptions. He had a completion percentage of 66%, while Mahomes had an 80% completion percentage. Ashton Jeanty, not that great of a game for him. He was able to get 2 rushing touchdowns, but only averaging 2.9 yards per carry and only having 55 yards. Isaiah Pacheco didn't do that well either. He only had 28 yards. Rashid Rice, let's go and see how he did. 9 receptions for 101 yards and 3 receiving touchdowns. Pretty good game for Rashid Rice. Travis Kelce with 7 receptions and 64 yards. Bobby Okereke led the game in tackles with 8. Then Leo Chanley and then Paulson Adebo. Tackles for loss is going to be Bobby Okereke. Sacks is Mike Green, Kristen Fulton. And then it looks like an auto-generated guy got a half a sack. Interception, the only one was Justin Simmons, who we signed last year. These are the people we're going to be signing. And this year for agency, we're going to get Khalil Shakir. We need a true number 1 receiver. And there was a lot of debate that Khalil Shakir is not even a true number 1 in Buffalo, but with the year he just had, his overall is an 87, so he will definitely be helping us out. We need a solid backup behind Ashton Jeanty, and we got that in Tyler Algier, who is an 82 overall, I believe, and we make the playoffs again. So we're a 12-5 record. We're an 88 overall team, 89 offense, and 87 defense. Let's go and check out the statistics of this year. This is Anthony Richardson's probably his best year, if I'm being honest. 3,648 passing yards, 30 passing touchdowns with 14 interceptions, 72 completion percentage, and he was only sacked 23 times. Now, Tyler Algier was leading in rushing. This looks like Ashton Jeanty was hurt this year, which is not good. So Tyler Algier with 841 rushing yards, 13 rushing touchdowns, and no fumbles. Brock Bowers is going to be the leading receiver again. 72 receptions, 932 yards, 12 receiving touchdowns. Khalil Shakir, 65 receptions, 875 yards, and 8 receiving touchdowns. Jacoby Myers with 59 receptions, 710 yards, and 6 receiving touchdowns. Raheem Shaheed had 3 receiving touchdowns on the year. Bobby Okereke is going to lead us in tackles again with 99. Then it's going to be Max Crosby with 77, and then Quincy Williams with 76. Pretty impressive year, especially from Quincy Williams. Tackles for loss is going to be Christian Wilkins with 14 tackles for loss. Max Crosby with 13. Max Crosby even not improving his season with 20.5 sacks. And then Jeremy Chin led us in interceptions with 4, and then Bobby Okereke had 3. Surprisingly, the Las Vegas Raiders make it all the way to the AFC Championship game facing the Cincinnati Bengals, and they only lose by a solid 3 points. So a 21-19 defeat against the Cincinnati Bengals. Let's go and take a quick look at the road to the victory. So we beat the Denver Broncos by 1 point, it looks like, 24-23. And then we also beat the Baltimore Ravens. So let's go to check out the game that we lost. Let's see the main reason we lost. Joe Burrow, 213 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Anthony Richardson, 229 passing yards, 1 passing touchdown with no interception. Completion percentage for Joe Burrow was 74. Tyler Algier, he actually had a really good game. 75 yards and averaged 5 yards per carry and had a touchdown. Chris Rodriguez Jr. had a touchdown as well. It looks like Ashton Jeanty was still hurt even in the playoffs. Khalil Shakir with 70 receptions and no receiving touchdowns. Jamar Chase with 64 yards. Jermaine Pratt was the leading in tackles with 10. Then Logan Wilson with 9. Next for us is going to be Trey Hendrickson, then Shamir Stewart. And then, let's see. Oh, there was no interception start of the game, so pretty complete game there from the quarterbacks. And the Las Vegas Raiders next year, the 2027 season, they don't even make playoffs. They go from making the AFC Championship to not even making playoffs. 88 overall team at 92 offense, which is pretty scary to be honest. 92 offense, and we didn't even make the playoffs. So let's go and see how that happened. Anthony Richardson with 3,275 passing yards, 23 passing touchdowns. Definitely could have had more passing touchdowns with 10 interceptions. 10 interceptions is not bad, but if you're only going to have 23 passing touchdowns, you're going to need to have a little bit less interceptions than that. But also a good thing is just throw more touchdowns. I mean, obviously that's the deal. That's the ideal spot. Ashton Jeanty, 220 yards, 1,015 rushing yards, and 9 rushing touchdowns. I will say Ashton Jeanty has been pretty good this year, or in his career, but he's not been groundbreaking. He's not been like a top 3 running back in the league, at least yet. Let's not speak too soon. 334 rushing yards for Anthony Richardson, though, and he had a rushing touchdown on the year. Now let's go and check the receiving. 79 receptions for Khalil Shakir, 1,020 receiving yards, 7 receiving touchdowns, and then Stephon Diggs was 61 receptions. I was unfortunately lost the clip, but we did sign Stephon Diggs in this past season. We had 713 yards and 3 receiving touchdowns. Brock Bowers was 712 receiving yards and 6 receiving touchdowns. Defense is going to be Quincy Williams with 108 tackles, and then Bobby Okereke with 99. Oscar White, the quarterback we drafted about 3 years ago, he had 78. Max Crosby was 72. Tyree Wilson is going to lead with tackles for loss with 8. And then the sacks is going to be Max Crosby again, this time with 21 sacks. Tyree Wilson was 6. BJ Ojolari with 2.5. Kenny Moore had 2 interceptions. Bobby Okereke had 1. Samuel Wolkman had 1. Oscar White had 1. Justin Simmons even had 1 as well. These are all the people that we're going to be signing this year in free agency. So we're going to be signing a 91 overall quarterback in Quinyon Mitchell. Quinyon Mitchell progressed all the way to a 91 overall. He's still only 27 years old, so we're going to go ahead and get him. We're also getting Renadro Green, an 85 overall, 27-year-old as well. But he's an 85 overall. Then we're going to get John Simpson. We need somebody in the left guard. We're getting DJ Reed, 81 overall, 31 years old. Jalen McMillian, just to help us out with the depth in the receiver position, since Stephon Diggs is pretty old. And in the 2028 season, we are going to be facing the Buffalo Bills in the first round of playoffs with an 11-6 record. Just want to give a quick note, guys, that if we don't lose too many important people in free agency, that I don't show it just for time purposes. And if we don't draft anybody big, I don't show it 2 years down the road, just to not waste your guys' time. Anyway, Anthony Richardson with 3,437 passing yards, 23 passing touchdowns, and 12 interceptions. Honestly, could have had a way, way better year. Only 23 passing touchdowns with 12 interceptions. Ashton Jeanty, okay, so I wasn't talking trash, but I was saying hasn't been the best of best quite yet, but he proves me wrong right here with 1,415 rushing yards. He averaged 5.1 yards per carry, which is insane, and he had 13 rushing touchdowns. Now, Tyler Algier also did really impressive as well with 12 rushing touchdowns. We ran the ball a lot, I guess you could say. 60 receptions for Wan'Dale Robinson, 780 yards, and 2 receiving touchdowns. Brock Bowers with 769 yards and 4 receiving touchdowns. Stephon Diggs with 5 receiving touchdowns and 752 yards. Khalil Shakir with only 700 yards but 9 receiving touchdowns. Bobby Okereke is going to have 106 tackles and lead the team. Max Crosby is going to have 77. Max Crosby is going to be pretty efficient this year in the run stopping with 17 tackles for loss. Also in the pass rush, he does it both with 21.5 sacks. Paulson Adebo is going to lead the team with 2 interceptions. Bobby Okereke had 1. There was also a lot of people who only had 1. We're going to be first round exits this year to the Buffalo Bills with a 27-17 loss, unfortunately. And Max Crosby is getting a little bit older, so our championship window is going to close somewhat soon in a year or two, because Max Crosby is the anchor of our defense. Anthony Richardson had 1 passing touchdown with 2 interceptions, though, so this might be some of his fault of why we lost the game. Ashton Jeanty, he had 65 rushing yards. He averaged 4.1 yards per carry. Josh Allen had 63 rushing yards. James Cook had a rushing touchdown. Joshua Palmer is going to have 54 yards for the Buffalo Bills off of 4 receptions. Keon Coleman's going to have 5 receptions for 46 yards. Khalil Shakir facing his former team, 4 receptions for 47 yards. Stephon Diggs also facing his former team, and he's going to have a receiving touchdown. Quincy Williams is going to have 9 tackles leading in the game. And then Quinyon Mitchell had 6 tackles. Tackles for loss, it's going to not be that many, to be honest. But sacks, BJ Ojolari was able to get a sack. Julian Love got an interception on Anthony Richardson. These are all the people we're going to be signing. I know we keep getting quarterbacks, but we keep they're just older, and I feel like they're going to start to regress. But I promise this is probably the last quarterback we're getting. We're getting Riley Moss, 82 overall, only 29 years old. Andrew Cisco, we actually need a free safety and a strong safety really bad. So Andrew Cisco and Cameron Curl, Bozzie Smith, and we got Bailey Zappi to be backup. So we're going to get rid of an auto-generated left guard and a 3rd-round pick. Now, the auto-generated left guard, he's only 76, and he's like 24, I believe. But we're going to get Mike Onagwe from the New England Patriots. And we're going to give up a 1st-round pick and a 2nd-round pick for Nico Collins. Now, again, we don't draft that well, especially when it's auto-generated people. I mean, you could, but again, it just happens more times than not. Anyway, we got Nico Collins. We improved our team by getting Mike Onagwe. And then we also were able to get Nico Collins. So Ashton Jeanty is going to be in the top 3 for rushing yards again, as you can see. But let's go and check out the individual stats. Now, Anthony Richardson had 3,374 passing yards, 28 passing touchdowns, 11 passing interceptions, 72 completion percentage, with only 15 sacks. Our offensive line is improving a lot, and a passer rating of 107.0. Amazing year from Anthony Richardson, at least the passer rating. Ashton Jeanty was able to get 1,074 rushing yards, 10 rushing touchdowns, 0 fumbles. Again, I don't feel like Ashton Jeanty has been fumbling at all. If not, maybe 1 or twice in his career. I haven't seen it though. Tyler Algier with 338 rushing yards with 4 rushing touchdowns. Anthony Richardson with 3 rushing touchdowns. Brock Bowers, he's going to lead the team with 74 receptions and 903 receiving yards. 11 receiving touchdowns, a pretty amazing year for Brock Bowers. And then Khalil Shakir is going to have 718 receiving yards with 3 receiving touchdowns. Nico Collins is going to have 710 yards with 7 receiving touchdowns off of 52 receptions. Wan'Dale Robinson is going to have 55 receptions with 570 yards and 3 receiving touchdowns. Bobby Okereke is going to lead in tackles with 123. Tackles for loss is going to be Max Crosby with 22, which is very impressive. And it's also impressive to have a 20-sack season on top of that as well. Quinyon Mitchell is going to lead with 4 interceptions. And the Las Vegas Raiders make it all the way to the Super Bowl, apparently. So I did not really see this coming, but they beat the New York Jets in the first round, the Kansas City Chiefs in the second. Then they have a rematch against the Cincinnati Bengals in the AFC Championship. And they beat them this time around, a 28-14 win. And the 4-seed Las Vegas Raiders are going to be facing the 2-seed Dallas Cowboys in the 2029 Super Bowl. So let's go ahead and see how this goes. We go ahead and go to the game for the presentation purposes. We won't be playing it, obviously. I mean, it's a rebuild. So it's not about my skills, it's about my GM skills. But let's go ahead and see. I'm interested if Dak is still the quarterback. Probably not, if we're being honest. There's CeeDee Lamb, though. Anthony Richardson, and number 5, no. So that is not Dak at all. So I wonder who that could be. It might be an auto-generated quarterback, if we're being honest. But they still have CeeDee Lamb, and I'm curious who else they got. But let's go ahead and get into the simulation and hopefully win a Super Bowl and rebuild the Las Vegas Raiders with Ashton Jeanty. So let's go ahead and start it off. They started with the ball first, but we score first, 7-0. 14-0 now, and it's going into halftime, 14-0. Coming back into halftime, and it's going to be 21-0. Now it's 21-7, though. And it's going to be 21-15, and the time has expired. The Las Vegas Raiders are Super Bowl champions in the 2029 season. You see Bobby Okereke, Ashton Jeanty, Anthony Richardson celebrating. There's Andrew Sisko. There's Jackson Powers-Johnson's Brock Bowers, obviously. There's Ashton Jeanty. Pouring the Gatorade all over the coach. It's pretty impressive. Max Crosby as well. He's going to be a Super Bowl champion. Same with Khalil Shakir and Nico Collins. And we did add a lot of people to the team. So it was a lot of work, but the Las Vegas Raiders were able to get it done. Let's go and see the stats of the big game. So Thomas Whitmaker, it is an auto-generated player as quarterback, and he did okay. 2 passing touchdowns, 1 interception. So that interception might have cost them the game. Who knows? But anyway, 238 passing yards. Anthony Richardson, 154 passing yards and 1 passing touchdown. It's not that great of a performance, to be honest. Ashton Jeanty did solid. He could have done a tad better, but he had 44 rushing yards with 1 rushing touchdown. Then he got an auto-generated receiver for the Dallas Cowboys, who had 70 receiving yards. CeeDee Lamb had a receiving touchdown. Jake Ferguson had a receiving touchdown as well. Who had the receiving touchdown for us? It's going to be Khalil Shakir with 2 receptions and 59 yards. Cameron Curl's going to be the leading tackler. Then TJ Watt is going to be up there for the Dallas Cowboys. Tackles for loss is going to be, or sacks is going to be Aiden Berry, auto-generated player. A lot of auto-generated people. And the interception is going to be Max Crosby. Even though he mainly is a pass rusher, he does drop back into coverage. Very rarely, but it happens sometimes. And I guess he was able to get an interception for that, unless it was a tip ball. So the 2029 season recap, the Las Vegas Raiders beat the Dallas Cowboys 21-15, making the Las Vegas Raiders 4-time Super Bowl champions, making Ashton Jeanty a Super Bowl champion as well. Super Bowl MVP went to Anthony Richardson, even though his stat line wasn't super impressive in the Super Bowl. And NFL MVP is going to be Josh Allen. Coach of the Year is going to be Zach Taylor. Offensive Player of the Year is going to be Rome Odunze. Defensive Player of the Year is going to be Max Crosby. That is around the end of the video. If you guys go ahead, if you guys appreciate the content, like and subscribe will highly be appreciated. Make sure to turn those post notifications on so you get notified every single time we post. See you guys in the next video. Bye.